Welcome back to my River channel. After reflecting on the lives of Ruth and Esther in our previous episodes, today we turn our attention to another remarkable woman whose life teaches profound lessons about walking in divine purpose. She was not only a woman of faith, but also a national leader, a prophetess, and a judge in Israel. This is none other than Deborah. Deborah stands as one of the strongest examples in scriptures of a person who understood her calling, embraced it fully, and walked in it faithfully. Her story reminds us that divine purpose is not limited by gender, age, or social expectations. God calls whom He chooses, and He equips those He calls. Deborah lived during a time when Israel was spiritually weak and politically oppressed. The nation had drifted from God, and as a result, they were suffering under the rule of their enemies. In this dark season, God raised Deborah as both a prophetess and a judge. This alone is significant. Judges were national leaders responsible for guiding the people spiritually, morally, and politically. That God entrusted this responsibility to Deborah shows that divine purpose is based on calling, not cultural limitation. Lesson 1. God uses those who make themselves available. Deborah did not step into leadership accidentally. She made herself available to God. She positioned herself as someone who could hear from Him and speak His word faithfully. Divine purpose begins when a person says, "Lord, here I am, use me." Both young and old must understand that availability to God is more important than ability. God supplies ability to those who surrender themselves to Him. Lesson 2. Intimacy with God sustains purpose. Deborah was a prophetess. This means she had cultivated a life of spiritual sensitivity. She heard from God and communicated His will to the people. Her authority did not come from position alone. It came from intimacy with God. This teaches us that divine purpose is sustained by spiritual depth. Public impact is always rooted in private devotion. Lesson 3. Purpose requires courage. When God commanded that Israel go to battle against their oppressors, Deborah delivered the message faithfully. She did not water down God's word. She spoke with boldness and clarity. Even when the military leader, Barak, hesitated, Deborah did not shrink back. Instead, she encouraged him while standing firmly on God's instruction. Divine purpose often requires courage. Courage to speak the truth, courage to act in faith, and courage to stand firm when others hesitate. Lesson 4. Purpose is not about personal glory. Deborah never sought fame or recognition for herself. When Barak insisted that she accompany him to battle, she agreed, but she made it clear that the ultimate honor would go to someone else. Deborah understood something many people struggle to learn. Divine purpose is about fulfilling God's will, not promoting ourselves. Those who walk in purpose do not compete for recognition. They focus on obedience. Lesson 5. Purpose includes empowering others. One of Deborah's greatest strengths was the ability to empower others. Rather than trying to do everything herself, she called Barak and commissioned him to lead the army. Deborah shows us that true purpose-driven leaders do not hold authority. They release others into their own assignments. This is a powerful lesson for parents, mentors, teachers, and leaders. Part of your purpose is helping others discover theirs. Lesson 6. Spiritual discernment brings national impact. Deborah's wisdom brought stability to an entire nation. The Bible tells us that the land had peace for 40 years after the victory God gave through her leadership. This shows that when one person walks in divine purpose faithfully, entire communities can experience peace, restoration, and blessing. Purpose is never merely personal. It is always bigger than the individual. Lesson 7. Age is not a barrier to purpose. Deborah's life speaks to both the young and the old. To the young, she says, start cultivating your relationship with God early. Develop wisdom, discipline, and spiritual sensitivity now. To the older generation, she says, it is never too late to rise into your calling. Your experience, maturity, and spiritual depth can become instruments of national transformation. Lesson 8. True leadership combines strength and humility. Deborah was strong enough to lead a nation, yet humble enough to remain dependent on God. She carried authority without pride and influence without arrogance. This balance is rare and it is the mark of a person walking in divine purpose. From Deborah's life, we learn that God calls those who make themselves available. Intimacy with God sustains purpose. Courage is necessary for obedience. Purpose is not about personal glory. True leaders empower others. One person's obedience can bless many. Age does not limit divine calling. Humility preserves influence, and spiritual discernment guides destiny. Here's an encouragement. Deborah's life is a call to action for every one of us. Whether young or old, male or female, experienced or just beginning, God still raises people who are willing to walk in His purpose. The question is not whether God is calling, the question is whether we are listening and whether we are willing to respond. Deborah's story reminds us that when a life is surrendered to God, it becomes a channel of wisdom, leadership, peace, and transformation. She walked in divine purpose not because she was extraordinary by human standards, but because she was available, obedient, and faithful. May her life inspire us to seek God more deeply, listen carefully, and obey boldly until we too fulfill the divine purpose for which we were created.